Hey, everybody, it's time for another episode of the Rock for Him podcast. I am Jeremy, your host. They also call me the big boy. And with me are the guys in Relentless Flood. This has been something that I've been looking forward to since I saw them last year in concert. Guys, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and what you guys do in the band?
Um, well, Dylan's first. Let's go Dylan first.
Yeah, I'm Dylan. I play the drums and write all the music and write all the vocals, lyrics.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wow.
A little bit of an exaggeration, but it's okay. He does play the drums. That part was accurate.
Yeah.
Barely.
And I will brag. He also mixed our whole last EP and did a phenomenal job on it. The Echoes EP. He's a good, awesome mix engineer. And since I'm talking, I'll go ahead and say I'm Marshall. I'm the I'm the lead vocalist, guitarist. I guess I don't know, main songwriter guy through the years. Yeah, that's me.
All right.
I'm Donovan. I play guitar and I make fun of these guys on a daily basis. So I give them a hard
Yes.
time. That's also part of my job description.
So, where are you guys from?
um, from like Hickory, North Carolina area. Um, I'm like in a smaller town, but it's like no one ever's heard of it. So
Okay.
I'm like literally 10 minutes from Hickory, so it's right there.
Okay.
I'm in a smaller town than Donovan's small town, Spruce Pine, North Carolina. About an hour from Donovan, up in the mountains. Hence my accent.
Right. What about you, Dylan?
I'm from Statesville. I'm about 45 minutes from Donovan. Donovan's our central hub.
Yes.
All right. So, who came up with the name Relentless Flood, and what's the backstory? Like, what? Is there a special meaning to the name?
It rained a lot that year.
It was a dark and stormy night. No. Um, I came up with that sometime, sometime a long time ago. Uh, and it's funny if you listen back to times that I've explained this, I may explain it slightly differently each time, but it all means the same thing. It's kind of how I've always viewed God, viewed the Lord. So if you think about it, He's all powerful, right? He surrounds us, and he's in everything if we'll just look around, right? He's like a flood because he's a God of more than enough, right? So he's a provider beyond our needs. He lavishes his love on us so relentlessly, so that's how I view him. He is a relentless flood. Yeah.
Awesome. So, one of the things we like to do is we like to hear your guys' testimonies, how you guys became Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So, who wants to start?
Well, if Dylan was a Christian, this would be a whole lot better.
that's
Kidding. How about Donovan? You go first.
um, I guess I didn't. I don't even. It's weird. Like my story is like kind of like it's not as like extravagant and like crazy. Like there wasn't like this big aha moment thing because I was kind of always around it. And but not to say that I was saved from the beginning kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like you go to church as a kid, so you're kind of just like just what you do. But you
right.
don't really like you don't really get it yet till like that one moment you're just like maybe this is legit. You know, like this is like legit kind of thing. Because like I said, I was around it. Initially raised Catholic till about 10, 10, 11 years old. And then my mom decided to go to a Christian church with my uncle, her brother. And that was like the first time. So like, like a Catholic church, I'm not saying, I'm not this isn't me like talking bad about it, but I was like a kid, like 8-year-old guy, little dude, super boring. Like just like hymns and like just there's no instruments. Like you know what I'm saying? It's just as a kid, you're just like I'd
Right.
rather watch Barney right now, you know? So it's like and then going to a Christian church and it was also like what are they called? Like where like they jump around and dance kind of churches. What are those kind of churches
Oh,
called?
Pentecostal.
Yeah, so it was like a Spanish Pentecostal church. So you go from Catholic, super like bland kind of services. And I was talking down on them, but it's just like that's just what I was raised in as a kid.
It's
Different
very
perspective.
traditional.
Yeah,
Very
very
Yeah.
traditional. And then go into like a very lively like Pentecostal Spanish church of like 50 people where everyone's just jumping around and as a kid, that's the first time I had ever seen like musicians on stage. Because at the time I was listening to like hip hop and rap and whatever whatever's on the radio. So I never even like imagined anything like music itself, like playing it was not even in my thoughts at that time. So when I first went to that church, just when I saw like people playing instruments, and when I say that, there was only like a drummer and a guitar player and a singer. And the drummer was my age; it was like a kid. And we turned like later on, I found out that was the pastor's son, and then the guitar player was the pastor's brother, and so it was just like a little family thing. So like that's where I kind of got interested in the music was because of that whole situation when I was just like, well, that guy's like my age and he's playing drums, like that'd be pretty cool. And plus just seeing in person. So that's when I got raised in the church a little bit in the Christian side of it. And not to say like at that time it was like over because it was like I was still a kid, kind of like growing up, still being super um, rebellious, you know, like doing whatever teenagers do. And so then I go and join the Marine Corps and definitely kind of was like church was not even on my mind at the time because I was just too busy, you know, living life and like just wanted to party and hang out with friends and like 18-year-old kid just fresh out of high school, whatever. And then it wasn't until like probably like 24 ish when I was like 24 years later on when I was stationed back in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Like I just really felt like a calling to like come back to a church kind of thing because there was like this Christian bookstore, but it wasn't like a Lifeway or nothing. It was like a family owned Christian bookstore. And I
Oh, family
saw it.
Christian.
Yeah. And it was just like I would drive by it every time going to base and I'd be like, what is that? It was called Straight Up. But like the T was like a cross. So you knew it was like a Christian place. You know what I'm saying? Like you just kind of had that brand. So like I walked into it one day just to kind of just for no reason. Like I literally just like something was just like just go in here and just like but I'd pass it so many times and then yeah, so like long story short, after all that long story, like I started going to that church from that family that owned it, and then that kind of lit me back in fire of like this is where I need to be, and this is like now I get what I was like taught as a kid, and now I really understand it now. And then so that's when I started like really getting back into music because I played guitar still kind of on and off, but that's when I really took it seriously and like started like my first Christian rock band, and we did a little couple shows here and there, and then that band kind of brought me into another band, and then that band brought me to another band, and then that band brought me to this band. You know, so it's just kind of like it was just kind of like stepping stones into the direction of where we're at today,
Right.
and then now we're here. You know what I mean? So that's I mean, like I said, my story's not that crazy. Like you know, it's just
It doesn't matter how crazy every testimony is unique.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
Marshall, what about you?
Um, yeah, my story's probably even more boring, but it's still valid. I grew up in church. My dad was a worship leader the whole time I was growing up. So I grew up in that, and he was obviously the whole reason I started playing music. I mean, I just some of my best memories as a kid was going to like they would do their praise team practice on Saturday afternoon or sometime like that, and I would go and well, we had the overhead projectors in the church. I'm sure you guys all know I'm talking about. So somebody had to stand there and flip them over, put the other slide on. So that was that was my contribution when I was little. I just wanted to do something, and but yeah, that was my whole segue into music. And dad, I I played music with him for a long time. I started playing piano and eventually like went through all the other instruments, started playing drums. But as far as, God was just a big part of. I really have to give credit to my mom and dad because they really did put him first. And church, church wasn't an option. we were there.
Marshall froze.
And this is our
I guess
theme,
Jeremy,
Marshall.
if you what?
Oh, you froze a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's funny is
Did
it also
you?
stopped when you said church wasn't really an option.
Oh, am I back now? Am I good?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And
Oh no, he froze again.
the mountains, there's no service, so sorry. I don't remember what I was saying, but oh yeah. So if you've Jeremy, I don't know how long you followed, but my dad was in this band for the first 8 years. So we started in 2010,
Yep.
and he was in it up through 2018. So yeah, that's really my testimony. God's just been faithful um in a lot of things, like and through this band, just just seeing him work in my own life and uh work in others' lives, and things that people have told me about, like our songs touching them, like God ministering them through that. It's just been, this whole thing's been a really humbling experience. I've never thought, when I started this, I wanted to be where we are today, but I never really thought it could happen because I'm just a kid from the mountains of North Carolina. There's no big city around. We didn't have a big music scene or anything like that. So just to see where the Lord has brought friends like Dylan and Donovan, even though we rib each other a lot, and it's just an awesome thing. The Lord's been faithful through every season of my life, and yeah, so I do this.
Awesome. All right, Dylan, you're up.
So mine's kind of similar to Marshall's. I grew up in church from, a kid, and I started playing in church when I was around 8, playing drums. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was trying to kind of pinpoint when I technically got saved, and I can kind of pull it back. My sister got in a really bad car accident when she was 13, so I was 9, and I kind of just seen God save her because, like, by all medical accounts, she should have been dead, like, over and over and over again. Like, she died several times, and I just, like, through the course of my life, I just seen how God worked and how He saved me, and just, so many things happen. You can only chalk them up to coincidence, like occasionally. Like, can't be 50 things in a row. You know what I'm saying? I really seen how He was moving in my life at an early age, and kind of just like that too good not to believe kind of type thing. And then been playing worship ever since. Like, I've just been doing some kind of ministry ever since I was 8 years old. So mine's pretty simple also.
Hey man, like I said, simple is, doesn't matter. God can use your testimony if he chooses to. I mean, that's the important thing. So you guys have what, 4 or 5 albums out?
1, 2, 3, 4 technically. So three full lengths and an EP. Yeah.
I have them all. I just couldn't remember.
Awesome.
Yeah. So are you guys working on anything new?
I would say yes and no. We do have some demos that we've been pretty excited about. We've had some of them for quite a while now, and we've been pretty excited about them for a while, and just haven't done anything with them yet. But speaking of that, our albums, this year is the 10th anniversary of the Time Is Now album, which my like metrics and stuff, and it's been our album that's seen the most success, I guess. And if someone comes up to us and they know one of our songs, it's most likely a song off of that record. Still I Know or Come Home or something like that. So we're hoping to do something kind of special around that at KCF this year. So just a little cool thing.
Cool. Well, I know that we were playing Echoes on our station, and it stayed on our top 15 for quite a while. Pretty high too. I think it peaked at like 5 or 6, somewhere in there on our
That's
chart.
awesome. Thank you.
So,
Thank you guys.
absolutely, man. We actually started playing it before I came out to see you guys with the protest. So that's probably one of my favorite songs. I don't know. So is there any songs that you guys absolutely love? Like, what would be your favorite, or you know what I mean, those kind of things?
That's a tough question.
Set Me Free is up there for me. That's probably one of my favorites. Standing Tall is a good one. Everything else is trash.
What about you, Donovan?
I just said that Bullets is probably one of my favorites to play live. But I also like, what's the one we've been ending with recently? I'm bad with names.
Still I Know.
Even though I play these songs all the time, like I have to like hear it to be like, oh, that's that song. Okay. Yeah, that was a really fun one line.
Yeah, that's man, I would say My Chaos is probably pretty far up there. I would say Reign of Terror might be my favorite one. It's also Dylan's least favorite.
So, who are you guys' influences, like lyrically and musically?
Well, I could say like probably, or let's say like all the way through. Like, so some of the earliest influences, because like I grew up going through high school in like 06 to 2010, right around there. So I was really into everything Christian rock at the time. Anything from Skillet, Disciple, Decipher Down. Any of those guys, and then on the secular side of things, Breaking Benjamin, Alter Bridge, a bunch of bands like that. I would say as far as my writing part of it goes, as it's gone on, I would say Alter Bridge has kind of stayed in there just because they're my favorite band, and Miles Kennedy is my all-time favorite vocalist. Seven Dust, things like that. I don't know that I would say that there is a particular lyrical, influence that I can point out. Actually, my dad did a really huge portion of the lyrics when he was in the band. So that was an adjustment.
I froze
when he was no longer in the band. But for me, for my part of the writing, I would say that's a pretty good synopsis. What about you guys?
Oh, your like voice sped up there for a second.
Let me move seats. See if I can get better.
I'm trying to think. So, like initially, when I had mentioned when I got started going to Christian church, one of the first so obviously it was a Spanish Christian church. So a lot of the bands that I listened to, you probably have never heard of because they're Spanish Christian bands.
Lost
like
Long.
one of doesn't no, like one of them was. I mean, earlier was like one of them was called Rojo, which is red in Spanish. Which is funny that there's a Christian band called Red in English, but this is not anywhere like Red, but it's called Red in Spanish, right? So that was one of my main influences initially getting started. When I first started playing guitar and stuff, like I would hear all the stuff he would do, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so sick." But even though looking back on it now, I was like, "God, that was so simple." But it was like early 2000s, like early Christian rock genre scene, like kind of thing,
Right.
and but I say simple like now because like RF is literally when I joined, I had literally the hardest time learning these songs because they were just so riffy, and so like that's what I compare stuff to with this band is like that stuff was simple, and then this stuff is like I can't even move because I'm so like focused on my fingers not messing up, and but yeah, so like initially like that band was my main influence, and then like obviously like I got transitioned over to like Decipher Down was another big one that like English Christian rock, and then obviously Cutlass. And actually I didn't even know
Yeah.
Disciple until probably that first City Rock Fest they went on. I never heard of them. Whenever like what was that 2014 probably? So I
Probably.
went that
Somewhere
long.
in there.
Yeah, so I had never even heard of them yet till then. And so yeah, so like Decipher Down was probably one of my first ones, Cutlass, those ones. Obviously everyone knows Skillet. Like that's just kind of like the staple. um but now as I transition like obviously like more music comes out and like more bands are coming out. Mainstream wise, like a big influence that I really kind of went towards is a band called North Lane. Um
I've heard of them.
Yeah, and I just love like musically their riffs are like just like so good, and like I hear it and I'm just like, gosh, how do they write stuff like this, like off their heads? Just like how do they do that? Like I just I want to get into their brain and like just learn that. And so definitely like now I feel like that's more towards my style. I feel like with like songwriting, and I don't really do any
Mhm.
singing, so I can't really have any lyrical stuff. Um, but yeah.
Okay. All right, Dylan, what about you?
A big one for me, like starting out, was Pillar actually. Um, just because like Lester Estelle to me was like the pinnacle of drumming. So like I was just like, oh my gosh, this dude is insane. And like they were to me like they were much heavier than their time. Um, I didn't really have another frame of reference either, so that was kind of it. I didn't even know about Decipher Down until Marshall showed me. I think it was the Other Side of Darkness when TJ has shown you like a preview of one of their songs,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then like 8 months later we were on tour with them. And Disciple was pretty big for me. I actually seen Disciple at my church here in Statesville in like 2007 or 2008. And so that was a pretty like it was like an awakening to like I didn't really know that stuff existed, like especially hearing it live is different than a record because like you're there, you feel it. And then mine has like translated, like I went through a big Dream Theater phase, um and then like For Today that got me into like the metal scene. And yeah, I think I've helped Marshall write like one word, so I don't really have lyrical. T-Pain, maybe he's a good lyricist. And like from like a mixing production standpoint, for me, like Spirit Box and Dayseeker, like all those guys on the mainstream side, they're just doing like the next level stuff, like as far as just the production, vocals, lyrics. I don't understand what they say half the time, but it sounds good. Translates. Sounds smart.
Right. So, who all of you guys toured with? I know, like I said, when I saw you guys, you were with uh, the Protest and Behold the Beloved, and
Mhm.
Matt Moore had opened. The night
Yeah.
you guys were here. And Marshall, I know you were just touring with the Protest as their drummer.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that go over?
I was fun. That was really fun. It was fun to get back to drumming a little bit. I've missed it. The main thing I did for a long time, and then I kind of put it away for a while. But as far as who we have toured with, we've toured with Disciple. As far as I don't remember if we as a band have toured with them 2 or 3 times. Decipher Down, about the same number. Um, Fun fact: we did a how Dylan? How long was that run of shows? Like 3-show run with Scott Stapp in 2016.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Creed.
cool. Yeah, we did
That was cool.
We did the Gray Eagle, and then like the next weekend we did those 2 shows in Florida, right?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Because
That was fun.
the 2 bands dropped off, or the 1 band dropped off, and they liked us. They're like, "Hey, you guys want to do these shows?"
Yeah, that was fun.
This will be my sacrifice.
Yeah.
But yes, you could say they accepted you with arms wide open.
Yeah, it really did take us time, for sure.
Oh man. Yeah, as far as who we've toured with, it's been a pretty narrow group of guys, just because we like to tour with friends. It's fun. It's fun that way.
So, is there anybody you'd love to tour with?
Yes. I'll let you guys take this question first.
Like anybody?
Like anybody?
Oh,
I think it'd be sick to do a run with like Love and Death, like Head and
There you
and all
go.
them.
Yeah.
Because
That
like
would
they
be
haven't
awesome.
really. Which I don't ever think they will ever do a tour because like all the members do other tours under actual bands. Like obviously Brian has Korn, Jr. has Spoken, and then gosh, who else is in the band? Isaiah, he's got like a million things going on, and then obviously the bass player is freaking the dude from Bacon Benjamin. So
Yeah.
so
Who
they're doing
actually-
big things.
Jason actually started playing for the band Red first, and then quit
Mhm.
and went to Breaking Ben,
Isn't that
which is
crazy?
great because my wife loves Breaking Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be a fun tour just because I think it'd be. I just love Love and Death. Like they're just dope.
Yeah.
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 Spoken would be
Speaking of that,
sick.
yeah, Spoken would be sick. I was gonna say Breaking Benjamin would be a fun tour.
or Alter Bridge.
Or Alter Bridge. Yeah.
Or you guys could open for Creed now that they're back together.
Ah,
Gosh,
Yep.
imagine hearing those songs.
yeah.
It'd be taking you back. Just like, oh man.
We could tour with 7 Dust and convert them.
There you go. That'd be a great tour too.
Seventh Day Dust.
Yeah,
Oh,
we could
man.
take that joke from.
Yeah, I guess like to go back to the touring, like who we've toured with, I guess like I don't know if you would consider like playing shows with people, like festivals and stuff, like part of like people we've played with. But like I always look forward. I don't have like a specific band that we played with, but like I always look forward to these events, like whether it's like Kingdom Come or anything like see like a bunch of these friends. Like I know like we're staying that weekend because we wanted to wait and see the dudes in Disciple and everyone else. I guess like it's almost like a reunion for us because
Yeah, family reunion.
because we live so far away from each other that these are the times where we get to like see each other again, and it's just like even though we talk to each other on Instagram or whatever, like there's still communication or we text each other. Like it's different obviously when you actually see someone in person and you're just like, dude, have you been blah blah. It's just
Right.
it's just super cool to like see someone again in person. And so I always enjoy these events. I always enjoy whether it's like we're touring and we just travel through like Nashville and we can see like all our friends that live in Nashville, or we're traveling through like Michigan or whatever. We see you guys. It's like there's always like we have like the specific people that we know in certain areas that we get excited to see. You know what I mean? Like especially like I know in Indiana, I always get excited to see there's just this lady that we always would stay with when Rifle was a thing, and her name is Karen, and not that kind of Karen. Her actual name is Karen. And she and she would like let us stay at her house like every single time we had KCF, which was like huge, like especially being touring musicians who just like going out there not making lots of money, but we just want to go and play some shows. And she opens her house for like free, and she like leaves you crockpot meals, and like she's not even there, like she'll leave the door open for you, and like she just goes to work, and she's just super nice. And I just like really appreciated everything that she would do for us. And she's not the only person that does that for us. Like there's so many people across the country that we've done that with, and it's just that's why I just enjoy doing stuff like this, like shows and festivals, because of the reunion feeling of it.
And we've
If you like what you saw today, hit the subscribe and like button down below, and don't forget to share it to all your friends. Also, leave us a comment down below. If you're gonna rock, rock for him.